This is the Military and Aerospace Electronics Report. I'm John Keller. Thorough surveillance and reconnaissance before launching a military operation is one of history's most unsung and underrated achievements. Those who do it right often prevail. Those who don't, well, we know of the carnage. The 1954 French defeat at Dien Bien Phu in what was to become the country of Vietnam is a sad example of poor reconnaissance. But what about the people who did it right? I'm thinking of those U.S. Navy PBY aircraft pilots who just before the Battle of Midway in June 1942 located the Japanese attack fleet first, before the Japanese commanders knew just where the American Navy was. We could argue that superior reconnaissance before the battle's first shots were fired was the turning point of the Second World War in the Pacific. The Americans knew where the Japanese were, and the attackers, they were operating blind. The result was one of the most spectacular naval victories in history. So, getting eyes out there before the first fighting forces even deploy, quite simply, can spell the difference between victory and defeat. And this lesson isn't being lost on scientists at DARPA, the Pentagon's military research agency in Arlington, Virginia. Now, DARPA is launching what it calls the Autonomous Persistent Tactical Surveillance Program, which seeks to do nothing less than blend the latest unmanned vehicle technology, multi-sensor fusion, fast computer networking, and automated intelligence data processing, and linking that directly with command and control systems to give fighting forces a detailed look at the areas where they'll be operating before they deploy. Okay, maybe that doesn't sound like such a big deal. Those PBY pilots did it before Midway, just like Buford's cavalry did it in the previous century before the Union and Confederate armies met at Gettysburg. What's different about the Autonomous Persistent Tactical Surveillance Program is the way it seeks to pull together widely scattered sensors mounted to pilotless aircraft and unmanned ground vehicles quickly enough to give commanders on the ground a big information advantage before they commit their troops. Now, it's a bigger problem than it sounds. Today's fighting forces in places like Iraq and Afghanistan often have to respond quickly to fast-changing threats. Maybe there's a suicide bomber in a crowd, reports of terrorists planting IEDs under cover of darkness, or a hastily assembled convoy that needs protection. The trick is getting the lay of the land before the troops move out. And that's what DARPA is trying to do. Gather every unmanned sensor available quickly, take a look, and then send those sensor platforms back to what they were doing before. If this and related programs yield important breakthrough technologies, think not only of the tactical advantages this would present, but also of the psychological advantage that military forces will have if they know what they'll face even before they move out. No surprises, bringing the right equipment, and knowing how long they'll have to be in the field. It could give new meaning to the fog of war. For the Military and Aerospace Electronics Report,